Hey guys, it's Carl Brown from GL365 Academy. So we lost Ozzy Osbourne here just a few days back here. So I thought, I'm well aware I've never done a complete lesson for No More Tears. I've taught this solo years ago. That's more my speed. If you guys follow this channel, you know I'm not a big fan of playing slide guitar because I'm horrible at it. I've practiced it exactly 0 times my entire life. So that's the reason I avoided it. I don't like playing slide guitar. And this one's in particular because you have to go back and forth while taking the slide on, putting it off in the middle of sections, and it's like, it's a little bit of a bear. It's like this slide guitar work would be very simple for most, like any type of people who play slide at all. It's literally more difficult than the solo to me. So it's just to let you know. But we're gonna do it anyway because I want to do something just to kind of in the memory of Ozzy. When I got the news that he died, it literally felt like the world just got a little less fun. You know, it's just we knew he was in bad health, so it's not like a shock, but still, it sucks. But this is a great track. Just Zakk has got so much great guitar work in this, and that solo is just epic. So we're gonna do it all. Obviously, you saw me just play the solo at the beginning of the video. We're gonna take a look at that a little bit later, but we're gonna go through the entire track, even the slide guitar work. All right. So anyway, let's start here with this thing that's going on. Actually, before I get into it, if you like this kind of stuff, you want to support what I do here on YouTube, My Guitar Academy, there's a link here in the description. That's how you support this channel. That'll give you 40% off my annual rate, access to all my guitar courses, personalized support for me, access to my live streams I do there every weekend. So click that link. Free trial if you've never, 7-day trial if you've never had an account. So please check it out. All right, let's jump into this. First things first, I am tuned to drop C sharp. So what is that? So it's pretty much you take your entire guitar and you tune it down a whole step. A half step. So everything down to kind of E flat tuning, and then you put it into the drop tuning. So you take the bottom, the 6th string, and tune it down another whole step. So what those notes will be is the low string, the low E string is tuned down to a C sharp. Then the A string is tuned down a half step to G sharp. The D string is tuned down to a half step to C sharp. The G string tuned down a half step to F sharp. The B string tuned down a half step to A sharp. And then the high E string tuned down a half step to D sharp. I'll have those notes in the description. Most people are just using electronic tuners or not tuning to videos anymore. This isn't like a Starlix video in the mid-80s. Those are glorious days though. Anyway, so now we're in tune. All right, let's grab the slide. I'm just gonna keep it in my lap here and go back and forth. So you can hear a little bit of noise as the intro of the band's entering. You hear Zakk kind of. So the first slide you hear is just kind of, he just drags the slide going up the strings, and the second one, not as loud as that. It's like, and then, so it's kind of already had it. So he does that a couple times, and then we come in with the proper slide part. So let's just kind of start with the sliding, really mostly the 2 middle strings. So you get to the 7th fret, all right? And then, so that's just a melody sliding from 7 to 8, back down to 7, back to 8. So, back down to 7, then play 7 on the G, and then the D, and slide down to the 5th fret. So. And then take that and slide up to the 10th fret. And then the 12th. And then he comes up here and grabs the 22nd fret across the D and the G again. Into this D power chord here, which is just the kind of the open A, open D. I'm calling this D, like it's like a standard tune guitar, obviously in drop tuning. Just lower string, open A, open D, second on the G, second on the B. And then back to that melody. And then all the way to the 24th fret. And into that D again. All right, so now we get to some tricky stuff. Now we have a verse riff here that kind of goes back and forth between not playing with a slide and playing with a slide. So you need somewhere, I haven't actually checked live videos. I saw the live playthrough of Zakk of this. And he puts it on the floor. I'm gonna put it in my lap. But I didn't check one from like back in the day when he was playing with Ozzy and what he did with it, but maybe it's on a mic stand or something. Anyway, so the verse looks like this. All right, it's tricky. Anyway, we start here with something that's pretty simple. Gotta get the pinch harmonics right. So we have this, so we're on the bottom 3 strings. A lot of this is just heavily palm muted. So it's the open bottom 3, then 3rd fret there across those 3 strings, then back to the open. And then you're gonna slide into the 6th fret. That's not gonna be muted. And then that right there is just back to the muting, 5 across those just 3 bottom strings, 5, 3, 5, 3, 0. And those, I think, and then back into the 6th fret there without the mute, and then, all right, and then he has this little ending after that little slide, second slide to the 6th, he had this. So that's gonna palm mute it again. 5, 3, 5, just single notes there. And then into a pinch harmonic. It's like a whole step bend with some pretty wide vibrato on it. With a pinch harmonic, now you gotta find, he plays a couple pinch harmonics here, it's mostly this one. So you gotta, why are pinch harmonics like this? Like whenever you need to just sit there cold and play it and hit it, it's fine to do it in the middle of playing it, you always get it 100% of the time. But when you gotta explain it to somebody and just cold kind of try to grab it, it's just like, it never works. It's just like, you can't get it, so it's weird. Anyway. All right, so, and then it goes back to that D power chord, which is just the open A, open D, A, D, 2nd fret on the G, 3rd on the B. And then you gotta grab the slide, and then we have the second half of the riff. All right, so this is an open D and open G. I kind of hit it with the upstroke, kind of a quick little hit. And then you come down with a slide. So it's just 12, 13, 10, 12, 13, 12, 10, 12, 10, then back to that 13, then 12, 10, 12, 10. So this. All right, so then we go back to hit that D chord, and then we're back to the same riff we did before. And then back to the same slide part. And then we get to the pre-chorus where you got to kind of keep the slide on, and it looks like this. All right, so that's the pre-chorus there. So this has got some hairy stuff in it because you have a slide on your hand. So you kind of start with that open D there. Kind of hit the chord. Kind of chug on those bottom strings. And then you're gonna go to this chord. So that's gonna be the open, kind of low D string there. 5th fret there on the A, 9 on the D, and 9 on the G. You got a little, kind of quick little down up at the end. And then you're gonna leave this index finger here, the same chord, but you're gonna move the pinky up to the 10th fret. So it's a big stretch. You gotta slide on your middle finger. It's a lot of fun, but it's across that, the pinky across the D and the G there. Then to this B flat power chord off the, I know we're tuned down, but I'm gonna call it B flat anyway. B flat power chord, the 1st fret off the A string. So like this. Then you get to do a trill with a slide on one of your other fingers, which is not fun. And that's just trilling between 3 and 5 on the G. So like this. Start over. So after you hit that power chord, the B flat power chord at the end, and the second time, so you're gonna be sliding up the strings, and you're gonna play across the D, G, and the B string here. So I'm kind of at the 9th fret, and then slide up to the 10. Remember, you're going to play 3 strings there instead of 2. And then we get to the chorus. Now, just because you can't get to the chorus quicker, you can't like throw the slide off your finger. You kind of keep it on your finger to play the chorus, even though you don't really need it, but you can see the playthrough, you can see he's got to keep it on there. So he basically looks like this. Playing the chorus with this is a little bit awkward, but it looks like this. All right, so that is, obviously you don't need the slide, but it's hard to let go of it unless you just lose it in the crowd. All right, but I'm gonna take it off for this section here because it's a little annoying wearing it. So it's this pretty simple little riff for the chorus here, made a lot more difficult with the slide on your finger, but you're gonna slide into that 5th fret there on the A string, and then go over to the 7 on the G. And then he picks the 5th fret on the A string again, and then plays the 5th fret there on the G string. Remember, you gotta kind of do it with these fingers because you're gonna have a slide on this finger. And then you're gonna slide again into the 5th fret on the A, but with your ring finger. And then play the 1st fret there, with your 1st finger, your index finger, you're gonna play the 4th fret there on the G. Back to the 5th fret there on the A string. And then you have kind of these double stops here. 3rd fret across the D and the G. So this. And that's just back to this, that those power chords here on the low bottom 3 strings. And it's be 5, 6, 5, heavily 5, 6, 5, 3, heavily palm muted. Repeat. And then you're gonna end it with that D power chord again. All right, so then it goes through the verse again. So the second verse is played like the first, except just half as long. So you just basically have one section of just like the kind of chugging riff down here, and then one of the slide part, and then immediately goes back into the same pre-chorus again. So there's nothing new to learn there, and then into the same chorus again. Now from there, from the second chorus, we get to this really amazing solo section comes in, the orchestra comes in, and all that stuff. I know we saw this at the beginning of the video. I'm gonna show you the performance again, just kind of a little refresh of what we're gonna be covering, and then I'll show you how to play Zakk's absolutely amazing solo note for note. So here we go. All right, well there we go. Zakk has thrown down one of the most epic solos of all of Ozzy's catalog, really. It's just, we're just saying a lot. This solo's got so much cool stuff in it. It's got some beautiful melodies in it, some really like kind of blues based, like digging in like double stop sections, and then that are just rapid fire ending, which is just nuts. And that's what makes it really tough, is because he's going through like a lot of different playing styles here. So, all right, so let's see if we can get through this here. So we're gonna start here with those little kind of whale sounds that starts. Now, the best way that I found to kind of get that, recreate the exact kind of pitches that are going on there, I'm gonna actually, usually I'm gonna turn the delays off for the lesson part of the thing. You can't do this part without delays, so it wouldn't sound anything like it, but it looks like this. All right, so what I'm doing there is I'm just kind of, we're doing some volume swells with a bend. So you can do these volume swells with a pedal as well, like a volume pedal, but I think Zakk's doing it on the guitar. But you're basically gonna start the first bend as it's kind of a whole step bend. And you start, before you pick the note first, and then you start swelling in the volume. So it's kind of this gradual, kind of, you raise the volume up and then you pull it back out while the note's going back down. So it's like, so you can kind of hear it coming back down. And then here, now here, this is a step and a half bend. So I'm bending now at the 12th fret. Because you hear this note, it goes back all the way down to that note, kind of. So you want to do that full step and a half bend from the 12th fret on the B. And then the last one is just a whole step bend again from the 15th fret on the high E. So we have this. All right, and then we get to the main section of the solo. So this first phrase, I'll turn the delays off now. so that starts here with it's a melody on the G string. So 11, then 11, 12, 14. And then you're gonna hammer back on 12 to 14. So it is. Then you're gonna go to the 12th fret, and then down to 11, then 9, and then back up to 10. So it is. And then we're gonna have this little bend. So that's a bend at the 12th fret, a whole step bend on the G string. Release, pull off to 10, and then up. Kind of a bend and release and back into the bend there again on the 12th fret. And then another bend there. Release, then play 11 on the G. So we have this so far. Now from that note we have this. All right, so after we got to here, I kind of go back and grab this with my index finger again and then go 11, 12, 14 on the G string, and then over to a whole step bend at the 13th fret on the B. Zakk did this with his pinky. But I mean, my ring finger is right there, so I'm gonna use that. So all right, then we're gonna go over to the 12th fret. You're gonna do a half step bend and release. Release the bend, so pull off to 10, and then into that half step bend again at the 12th fret. And then you're gonna come up here to the 15th. So that we basically have this whole step bend, release, pull off to 13, sorry, and then a couple kind of a bend and release bend. So this. And then, so he keeps kind of picking that here, kind of releasing it and picking it back up. And then so it goes like this. So that was at the 4th one where he hits that, he's catching the note on the B string in there. So on the recording, he's just catching that one there. When you see him do that like live playthrough or whatever, he's just doing all of them, but obviously that's not exactly like, and it's kind of the same thing when he's doing. And that melody in the intro, he adds those kind of oblique bends, which aren't on the original recording. So I'm gonna just stick with the original recording there. So in case you guys are seeing him do that and then me not, that's why. It's things he's kind of added over time. So, so after this, then bend, 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 catch 2 strings, and then one more, kind of bend and release, 13. And a lot of times when you're playing the 13 by itself, not pulling off to it, you're gonna do a slight little bend on it. And then over to the 15 on the B. So that phrase all together. All right, and then we have this kind of, it really kind of picks up here. Full band kicks in, looks like this. was the first phrase of it, first half of it. I'm gonna break this down. These are the hardest parts to memorize. Is these little parts right here, where they're kind of really bluesy and double stoppy. And you can tell that Zakk is just like really winging it and just kind of feeling it, where to place all the double stops and stuff. Those things are the hardest ones to kind of memorize. I just said that. Anyway, here we go. So we start here with this bend to the 13th fret. And then you're gonna go over to the 10th fret on the high string, then play 13, 10 on the B, into a bend at the 12th fret on the G, and then you're gonna catch the 10th fret on the high E string, and then release that bend on the 12. So this. Then pull off 10 to 10. So all together. Then we go to some double stops. To the roll over to the 12th fret on the G and the B. Back to the D string 12th fret. And then the double stops to the 10th fret across the G and the B. Then play 12, 10, 12. So then it's back to. So that right there is the kind of bend release at the 12th fret, pull off the 10, and then you're gonna go over to those double stops across the 12 on the G and the B, roll over to 12 on the D, and then those 10th fret double stops, and then back to that 12 on the D. So this first half here. Remember, even with the double stops, when you're doing these double stops with your index finger, those can be pulled down a little bit too. All right, second half of it. All right, so that's gonna be, start here, the 12th fret here, so there's a second, it's kind of the second half of the double stop section, I guess we can call it. It's a kind of a quick bend and release there on the 12th fret on the G string. Pull off to 10, over 12 on the D, and then the double stops at the 10th fret there. So whenever I say double stops at the 10th, it's always the G and the B, and it's the same thing at the 12th. So with this, and then we have this double stop to 12, then 10, so this. Over to the 12th fret there on the D. So this, and then we have that at the end of the double stops there, which is the double stops at the 12, back to that 12th fret on the D, and then the double stops at the 10, and then 12, 10 on the D. So we have this. Into a bend there at the 13th fret there on the B string, and then you kind of end this little part. So after that 13th fret bend, you're gonna play the 10th fret there on the high string, and then play. You can kind of just pull off 13 to 10 on the B string into that whole step bend at the 12, and then roll back over 10 on the B, 10 on the high string. So, and then you can go back down with that pull off of 13 to 10, and then kind of slows down there here at the very end, which is a whole step bend at the 12, and then play 12-10 there on the G, and then play 12-10 again over that 12 on the D. So let me play that section kind of slower for you all together, both things, because it's like I said, this is the hardest part to memorize. These kind of like winging it parts are the ones you kind of, you just got to get them in your ear and just kind of follow along. So I'll do it a little bit slower, so it looks like this. right, from there we have this. So that it's kind of a bit around just a couple notes really. It starts with a bend at the 15th fret on the whole step bend at the 15th fret on the high string. Pick it again, release, pull off the 13, and hit 15 on the B string real quick. So this, and then, so then was kind of, it's kind of going between 15 and 13, and when that 13's got a slight bend up. So this. And then into a whole step bend again, and then another bend and release. Slight bend on the 13. Over to 15 on the B string with some heavy vibrato. So it is. I'm raking into a lot of those notes. Just because it's fun. But he's also doing it too. He's kind of really digging in. All right, now we get to the shreddy section. All right, so this is a pattern that's being picked here. So the picking pattern that we're going to start with. All right, so let me just show you the pattern first. This little section, I kind of play a little slower. I didn't say I play it slow, it's just a little bit slower and he's doing it. Just so you can get the sense of the sound of it. Now, what you're gonna see with him is I reversed the picking that he uses. He's a very heavy down slanted picker. So you can see his pick is really angled that way. So that makes this all, when you're doing like kind of 2 notes per string, this is pentatonic bass, so there's any kind of 2 notes per string playing, when you're going across strings and stuff. If you're a downward pick slanter, it works better starting everything with a downstroke. For me, whenever I start getting into these higher speeds, I like to I'm more of kind of a slightly upward pick slanter, so I like to start it with an upstroke. So you might want to experiment when you're learning this pattern, whether it's going to be strictly alternate picked, but you can choose whether to start with a downstroke or upstroke, and however you naturally play, you might find one a lot easier. So, and there's no wrong way to do it. Find the way that works for you. So what the pattern is though, is gonna start here. So we're gonna start here with a 13-10 on the high E string. So like I said, I'm starting with an upstroke here. So a 13-10, play twice on just the high E string. And then we're gonna go over to the B string and play 13-10 once. So it's a 6-note pattern. So are you gonna get that going? So you gotta do it 4 times. However, something that's easy to miss here is he transitions up. As he shifts up to the next position of the pentatonic, he's the very last, when he goes to the B string, the 4th time, so like this. Right here. So he shifts up, he doesn't wait to complete the pattern and then shift up. He doesn't do it like that, he does it like this. So he gets into the new position. The first notes he plays in the new position are on the B string. So the last 2 notes that are supposed to be on the B string in the pattern, he's gonna shift up. So you can see that right here. So check out the 4th time. I'm gonna go there to 15-13 on the B instead of playing 13-10. So like this. Like that. So that's how he accomplishes the shift and make it like sound real smooth. And then he goes the same pattern here where you're going 15-13 on the high E and 15-13 on the B. So you get the same pattern though. So you do it 2 times on the high E string and then once on the B. So you're gonna do it 4 times here as well. Now, once again, the 4th time here, he's gonna shift instead of going to the B string here, 15, 13, he shifts up to the next pattern. That's when he chooses to shift, which is going to be here at 18, 15 on the B. So we have this. That's the fourth time instead of this. So this 3 times. And then, so far we have this. And then here we have the same pattern, different notes, 17, 15 on the high E string twice, and then 18, 15 there on the B string. Now you do the full 4 times here on the... So he doesn't transition out of this, so he just... You're gonna play the full 4 times there without kind of... It's the exact same thing each time. So we have this. And then he's gonna end it, he's gonna really speed up now and do kind of, it's kind of a half legato-y, half sweep thing. And how you pick this is very important. You have to be downward slanted here. So you can see that I kind of rotated my pick. So when I play, I always kind of rotate back and forth between the two. If I'm going to do strict alternate picking and do it very fast, I prefer to do it with upper pick slanting. So that's why I was doing that. But this lick, you have to be a downward pick slant like Zakk is. So it starts right here. It's just an 8-note lick instead of being 6 notes. So we've gone into, we've picked up the tempo even more. So we're gonna start here with an upstroke on the 18th fret there on the high E string. And you're gonna pull off to the 13th fret. Then what you're gonna do is you're gonna pick with a downstroke across on the 15th fret on the B string into like a little mini sweep across 2 strings back to that 13 on the high string. So that's one movement. The separation comes from down here. You don't want like that. So it's kind of, you gotta get work on that. So we have this upstroke, pull off, and then now say it's a 8-note lick because he's taking taking eight notes per beat. Let's say that. So it's obviously a 4-note pattern, but it's 2 per beat. So it's 32nd notes. So we had this when he was doing that, it was 6 notes per beat. So he ramped it up to that. So his upstroke, pull off to 13, then sweep from the B to the high E, and then repeat. Now here, kind of just like we did when we were doing the alternate picking licks coming up, the very last, he shifts up to the next position. So we have this. Instead of doing that last 15, 13 there, the 4th time through, he's gonna move that up to 17, 15. So it looks like this. So we have this. So it's the same lick, but he's transitioning into the next position, the next arpeggio. Right there into 17, 15. So sweep it on the 17 on the B, the 17 on the high E. And then now you're gonna do the same lick we did here, but 2 frets higher basically. So you're pulling off 20 to 15, and then obviously that 17, 15 sweep. And here, you're gonna complete all 4. You're not gonna shift anywhere around. So slowly. So you completed all 4, and then into a whole step bend at the 20th fret. And we are done with the solo. An amazing solo by Zakk. It's just really killer. It's got so much stuff in it, from volume swells and bends to really beautiful melodic playing, really difficult bends to get really great vibrato on and in tune, whole step and half step, and then into some vicious like kind of blues-based hard rock stuff, and then into just the ending section is just like top tier shred. So hopefully you guys will get work your way through it. All right, so let's continue with the track here. All right, so we're back with the slide here, and so coming out of the solo, it's kind of like the intro of the song here, a little bit of a shorter version of it. So it looks like this. So he kind of goes really kind of crazy. Really crazy with the slide there, but it's the same thing that we did in the intro, so we already really covered it. It's just kind of same melody. All right, and then we're back to this verse here that comes in right here. So it's just as long as the first verse. So remember the second verse was like half as long, but this one is the full-length verse again. And it's just the same as a... It's the same kind of stuff that we did before. All right, but the very last time, so when you go back the second time you hear the slide part in the verse, he does a little bit of variation in the melody at the very end. So it looks like this. So this is the end of that last verse. This is what he's doing on the side. So you can kind of see it's very similar, but obviously we hit those open D and G again. Then the 10th fret on the D and the G. Then 13, 12, 10, 12, 10. And then here's the variation. It goes into 13 twice. Then 12, 10, 12, 10. All right, so all together there for that little final verse riff. I suck at slides so bad. Anyway, so then it goes through the same pre-chorus again, and then the same chorus again. And then we have that ending chorus. All right, so this ending chorus, it's kind of this same, he still has a slide on. I don't take it off now since I'm at the end of the lesson here. And you don't need it technically for the chorus riff. You just can't throw it off your finger quick enough. But it's the same thing that we've done. So it's an extended chorus at the very end of the song, and it's the same as the previous chorus section. It's kind of playing that same riff 4 times. And then he plays it 4 more times with a slightly different rhythm. So it looks like this. All right, so that little part right there is just like, you can see that kind of like, it's really just to do it right. It's like, it's straight through like the previous chorus sections. And then after you do that 4 times, you just kind of hold that note for a second. Just delay hitting that note. And that kind of just throws everything off for the rest of the riff. But everything else is just kind of played the same. You're just kind of just holding on that very first note for just a split second longer. And that is it. And then we end it with that kind of D power chord, open D power chord. And we are through this epic track Man, rest in peace, Ozzy. It was I'm glad we could honor you with this one, and obviously Zakk. Is just an amazing player, and he's such a great body of work with Ozzy. So and his other projects as well. So hope you guys enjoyed it. I'll see you again soon for GuitarLessons365.com.